Okay, guys, so just so we get this out of the way, this is not an entertainment video. This is not an entertainment video. This is an educational video. It might be long and boring to some. To some, it might be valuable. What we want to talk about today is LTV. LTV, lifetime value. That's what LTV means. Lifetime value. And that's self-explanatory. It means we're talking of a situation where you can tap into value for a lifetime. And there's so many examples of this, even though you may not realize them. For example, we might all agree that certain books are valuable. Not every book. Certain books, when you read those books, they taught you concepts that you are now using over and over again to succeed. So that's lifetime value, because the average book back in the day, when I used to buy books at insignia bookstores and so on, it used to be $15, $20, $10. But the advice that I got from that would make me $100. It would make me $200, not just one time, over and over again. So imagine if you read a book that taught you something. It might have taken time for you to get the concept. So it doesn't mean that you read the book in a month and then you finish the book and then the next month you're getting 100. No. But I'm talking about, like, have you ever read a book and started to study that concept that you were introduced to from that book? You might even read other books. You might watch other YouTube videos, but that concept of what you read came from a particular book in the first place. And when you finally understand that concept, even if it takes a year, from that year onwards, you start making a certain amount of money over and over again, right? Maybe you start making $200 a month, $200 a month. Then over time, $400, because the more you're using that concept, you're getting to understand it. But where did you get that concept from? From that book. That $10 book. You bought the book for $10. So you bought a book for $10, but the lifetime value is all the money that you've accumulated, or all the money that you stand to accumulate over the rest of your life, because you understand that concept. So when I talk of lifetime value, I'm even talking about books right now. Everybody is looking at books because I'm talking about books right now. What it means is, actually, the bigger lifetime value that you got was even learning how to read, because you never would have read that book without being able to read. So that's the value of your education. That's the value of your literacy. As much as some people online and wherever, they would like to blast the education system without realizing that the reason that they are able to read what they can read is being in that educational system that taught them literacy, that taught them ABCs, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, whatever. That's how they were able to read the contrarian philosophies that they now hinge to, right? So it still gave them a lifetime value. Of course, there are certain parts it could be improved. The mathematics, the reason you are able to calculate and quantify what you can quantify, even if you're not in the mathematics world or fraternity, like if you don't consider yourself to be a mathematician or a scientist, you still do some sort of evaluation using numbers. So the lifetime value of basic math, even if you're not going to do it at applied math level, even if you're not going to do integration, is immense, right? So that's what I'm talking about, to say lifetime value. So now, where does this count, like lifetime value? Okay, for me, lifetime value, it can get into a lot of different subjects. It could be the lifetime value of where you were raised. Well, what's the advantage of the access to the things that you got where you were raised, whether it's a suburb or a ghetto? What does it save you from? And it's not only about money. I know that the first examples I gave were about money. And I'm kind of, throughout this conversation, I'm going to focus on money. But money is not the only value there is, but I like to concentrate on money because money is quantifiable. Money is something that we can measure. Money is something that's objective. But if you can translate anything that I'm teaching here to anything else other than money, that's good for you. That's even better for you. And that's what I actually do. I actually evaluate things in evaluations that are other than money for my own life. But I also understand that the evaluations of other subjective things may not be the same as yours. So when I make these videos, what I do is to use quantifiable things. And the most quantifiable form of value that I know of is money, right? So forgive me if you're a person there's some people that are uncomfortable having money being talked about, right? But forgive me for that, right? I'm going to be using money as an example, right? So let's say you do a course on graphic designing and that course costs you $300 in total or whatever. I'm not saying that's the price. I don't know the price. But you study diligently. It might not be the only course that you do, but it gives you foundational knowledge that allows you to even learn further in other courses, which are also giving you lifetime value. But I'm saying you never would have understood the subsequent topics without that topic. And sooner or later, you are able to make a living from doing graphics for brands, big corporations, logos, etc. So that course cost you how much? No. What was the price of that course? Yeah, it cost you $300. There's something that I'm trying to get to. I think I'm getting... That course, it cost you how much? $300. How much is it earning you? It might earn you $150 for another gig, $50 for another gig, $45, $10, whatever. But if you calculate throughout your lifetime, eventually you're going to surpass the $300 mark. So I guess what I was looking for when I paused for a second was like, there's a difference between cost and price, right? The price is what is $300. The cost is a different thing. Like cost and price are two different things, right? The price of something is not the cost. The price of alcohol can be $20. Like somebody can get a whiskey for $20, a vodka for $15, $10, maybe $1, maybe $3. That's the price. What's the cost? The cost might be if they overdo it, if they abuse it or whatever, they might end up with liver cirrhosis or some of these liver diseases. And actually, the statistic is that 90% of people who drink already have some form of liver disease, even though it's not at an advanced stage. But maybe the more that you do drink, it might get to an advanced stage. So the cost becomes the medical bills that you have to pay, or the shortening of your life, or the energy levels that deplete as your liver surrenders to the alcohol. Or if some people decide to drink maybe enough beers for $30, and then they're driving and they get on the road and they make bad decisions or bad judgment, and that costs the life of many people. That's the cost, right? So value, cost, price. What's the price of a book? So why I'm saying this, I'm trying to show you something. What's the price of a book? And it's not always about a book. It might be because, okay, for me, let me explain something again. When I say a book, I don't mean a physical book that you have to read. It might be an audio book. It might be a YouTube video. So it might be this video. Because the purpose of a book is not for it to just be a book. You can write a book with nonsense and misinformation. Just because something is a book doesn't mean it's valuable. So the value of a valuable book which is giving accurate information, or the value of a YouTube video that's giving you accurate information, audio book or podcast, whatever, is in what it can cause you to do. The price of the book might be $10. If you are watching a podcast or listening to a podcast, the cost or the price then becomes how much data you need to be able to download that. So if it's like 100 megabytes, that's the amount you paid. You paid for 100 megabytes to be able to stream that podcast. But maybe that podcast taught you something, even if you're already in business, it taught you something that could save you time and time again from $2,000 losses. And someone who didn't listen to that podcast, or someone who thought it didn't matter, or somebody who thought, this podcast, they might be incurring a certain cost that they don't need to be incurring. Am I making sense? Like sometimes you could listen to something. You might think you know business and all. You might think you already know everything about Facebook advertising. But maybe by not watching some YouTube guy, right? Or by not taking some course on that, maybe you're spending $10 more per advert that you do. In terms of efficiency, when I say $10 more, I'm saying maybe in order for you to get 20,000 people to see your ad, you are spending $20. Then somebody who watched that course is spending $10 to get the same amount of people you're getting, because they know something that you don't know. Or maybe you both are getting 20,000 people for the same amount of money, but it's also about the amount of people that are going to buy. The person who watched a YouTube video, or who took a course on doing better copywriting, doing better ad copy, in the same pool that you guys are getting for the same ad reach, that person is getting more clicks and more conversions and consequently more purchases. So they're making more money. But they only had to pay for the course that they learned to do that with once. And they now know that for a lifetime, and they can transfer that if they start doing another business. Maybe primarily they sell paint, like Nash Paints, and now he's into furniture. But the same concepts that he learned to do with the paint thing, he does in the furniture thing. Even if he gets into another, there might be variations, and of course he may keep learning and so on. And if you want to see, I just brought up Nash Paints, because everything that I'm giving you, I never wrote it down. It's a stream of thought, right? These Nash Paints guys were sponsoring artists and content from before. They were sponsoring artists and content from back in the day, right? Bus Stop TV. No, it wasn't Bus Stop TV. Pure Box. It was Nash Paints. That was Nash Paints. So they were already doing that. It wasn't at a high level. It wasn't live on TV. The branding wasn't like, if you watch the videos, they never had like the Nash TV logo or whatever. But it's a concept that they were developing and seeing the fruits of. You understand what I'm saying? That's my nephew. He just came in. So yeah, that's just what I want to say about lifetime value.